Good morning. Kia ora tātou. My name is Iain Hobson. Liquid Stone is my business, and we make GRC in Auckland, New Zealand. This morning I'd just like to share some of our journey with GRC personally and in New Zealand with you. New Zealand was an early adopter of GRC back in the 1980s, and pre-1987 crash, I think there were some 20 plus manufacturers in the country, which for a country of only, at the time, 3 to 4 million people was quite a significant number of producers. In the last 10 years, we've lost a lot of that expertise and the design, engineering and manufacture and production of GRC, and we are now going through a phase of rebuilding all of that expertise, and so it's been a fantastic experience for me and my colleague John to be here amongst such esteemed company. One of the great projects that was done and completed, not by our business but in New Zealand, just to show the level of expertise in GRC that was available, was the Hilton Hotel on the Auckland waterfront here. And you'll notice from the slide, you can see the building was built on top of an old timber pier, which was constructed in the 1920s. And so GRC was fundamental in the success of the building, being lightweight and able to be for the timber pier to take the weight of the building. My journey, I worked and lived in London for 10 years, and this building's been referenced a number of times through the conference, and I worked around the corner from Cannon Street, and we used to walk past this building, and I always fond of it, and so it's a nice circular journey to come back to London and walk past that again. After leaving London, I returned to Auckland and New Zealand to raise my family. It was very difficult to replicate the scale and resource that you have available in the Northern Hemisphere in such a small country. It wasn't until I got out on the water, the sparkling waters of the Waitemata, and got back involved in sailing. I wasn't part of the America's Cup, but I did see the boys out there sailing on the harbour, and it really struck home to me that excellence could be achieved, and world-class excellence could be achieved even in such a remote location with such few resources. We were still able to be world beaters. So on to COVID. This is a COVID project we took on. We were previously terrazzo manufacturers, and through COVID lockdowns, we had a very severe lockdown. We had lots of time to think, to strategize, and to work on projects and build relationships with architects and engineers. What you're seeing here is a permanent GRC as permanent formwork, embellished with what we call the kaitiaki, which is the guardian to the entrance to the Auckland harbour. The GRC piles were clad around the steel piles that were driven into the harbour bed to create a new pier for a new ferry terminal transport infrastructure project, which was there to support a growing population. The steel piles were driven into the seabed, and they were out of alignment, out of plumb, and irregularly spaced. So GRC somewhat came to the rescue. We were able to overclad the steel piles with oversized GRC cladding and stitch those together in a tidal environment, and which is quite important to note. We think this may be one of the only examples. Iain might be able to correct me on that one, but I'm not aware of any other GRC projects where it is partially submerged in a tidal environment and in such a way. And it's the finished terminal there. Another project, just to illustrate the versatility, again, as you've seen throughout the conference, we worked on a heritage restoration project, which neatly ties into a lot of the discussions that we've had over the last few days. This was a building that had most of the heritage elements removed from it over time. Back in the 1950s, the original pediment and handrail had been removed due to seismic concerns and safety concerns. And when the new owners took over, they worked closely with the heritage architects, working from original hand sketches from the early 1900s. We have a very small population. We don't have access to traditional craftsmen, stonemasons, master plasterers, and the like that are available here in the UK that I was used to working with, or that you may have in the subcontinent or the Middle East. So we had to innovate because those resources simply weren't available to us. And we turned to the movie industry, set designers, model makers, and the like, and CNC routing technology in order to replicate and build back up what the original embellishments on the architectural facade. We worked in a lot of different mixed materials, clay, polyurethane rubber, fiberglass, etc. But the manner in which all of these elements were brought together was quite unique. This is a photograph to give you a bit of a scale of the top pediment, which was some 7.5 meters tall when finally assembled. And this was it in its final glory. Refurbished, reinstated, and ready for another 100 plus years. Look, it's been a fascinating conference for John and myself to be here, and we're really very grateful for the opportunity to share the time and meet people. And I'll leave you with a couple of questions that have come up and been talked over, and that is how we deal with and how we react to the challenges that we've faced over the last few years with COVID. We've heard about the earthquakes in Turkey, the seismic challenges in Japan, and we deal with those locally and those environmental challenges at home in New Zealand as well, and how we can leverage the attributes of glass fibre reinforced concrete in the design of our buildings and the engineering of our buildings, and the ductile nature of this the product, the lightweight nature of this product, and how we can really leverage the benefits of this material going forward. But I think we also have heard a lot about the sustainability, maybe not so much the social responsibility aspect of what is the challenge, the future challenges that we're facing with artificial intelligence, robotics, and how that might impact our communities and the people and our staff and our workers around us. And I think that's a really important aspect to keep in mind, because we are a community at the end of the day. So I thank you very much for your time. I hope that's been of some interest, and once again, it's been a great honour and a great privilege to share the time with you all here in London. All right.